PvP in Once Human can be very confusing if you're just coming to the game like myself. But basically, to begin with, there are two types of servers in Once Human, PvE or PvP. So make sure if you want a PvP, this is where you start by choosing the PvP server. Now, once you're starting in Once Human, it's not like other PvP open world survival games. It's more like an MMO like New World. You can toggle on PvP in the open world for some added challenge, or you can do some PvP events around the map. But it is not full loot, although when you are toggled as PvP in the open world, you will and can drop pieces of your gear and guns. So be aware, the settings and way PvP operates do change depending on the scenario. So you can choose to have PvP or you can choose to not have PvP, even on the PvP servers. It's an option. You can even choose to let players raid your base by doing an event. So that is the main thing with Once Human PvP. It is opt-in and opt-out, and very soft for PvP full loot veterans. But with Once Human's MMO gear grind, it kind of makes sense. So today we're covering how PvP works in Once Human for noobs like myself. So the first way PvP works is by switching it on in the open world. Once you reach level 11, you can choose to turn PvP on and off. But you don't have to turn it on if you don't want to. If you're flagged as PvP in the open world, it means players can kill you and have a chance of looting some gear from you, and you can do the same for them. So in this mode, you can lose gear and it makes the game a little bit more hardcore. But now, at the moment, when you flag yourself for PvP, it turns off after a timer, so it's very confusing when you run around looking for PvP and you find someone and you shoot at them or they shoot at you, only to find out it's now turned off. I was running around in what I thought was PvP mode on, and I ran into this player, rode my bike into him to see if I could kill him. Realized PvP was off. He thought PvP was on, so he tried to shoot at me, or he switched it on. I'm not too sure, but I decided to test if I could just switch it on when I'm near somebody. So you can literally just ride past someone and switch PvP on, even if you don't have it on when you see them. It's really confusing. So now I was like, okay, PvP's not on, but I'm going to turn it on and shoot at this guy. So it's very interesting the way it works at the moment. I'm sure this will be iterated on, because there should be like a cooldown. If you see someone with PvP on, you shouldn't just be able to switch it on if you're in PvE mode and then like shoot them in the back, you know. So I don't know. I wish PvP didn't randomly switch off at the moment. Maybe they'll change it in the future, but this is how it works at the moment. So this form of PvP is very inconsistent. I'm hoping it's iterated on so that if you select PvP on, it just stays on, because I want to basically play Once Human like a challenge mode. So if I'm streaming it, like viewers can come and snipe us and, you know, hunt us down, and it makes the game even more interesting. So it gives us different ways to play the game if we want to. So I would say the open world PvP is the most inconsistent part that I've experienced so far. But luckily, there are zones you can also enter to get your PvP fix. So there's certain zones, like you can see here, that are tagged GVG. These zones are tagged and zoned for PvP, but it's not full loot PvP. You only lose loot from your inventory. The first event I found was the Escort Mission. There's basically a truck that drives around the map, and if you get in the zone of it, you're flagged for PvP around its general radius. And in this zone, you have to destroy the truck. And once it destroys, there's a jellyfish that goes around and sits on players' faces and basically gives you points that you can spend at traders. So you want to get it on you as much as you can, but other players are going to try and come and shoot it off you and steal it for themselves. So this event is pretty fun, pretty wonky the first time I did it. I was so confused, but this event doesn't last long from my experience, so you really have to be fast. As soon as you see the event proc on the map, you need to get to it ASAP. Now, the next type of PvP is a really interesting one, and the one that I've been getting the most engagement on, and that is the PvP at the frontier zones. So again, these are a big radius on the map. They look like oil pumps on the map. You'll see a big one that's surrounded by a lot of small ones, and they'll be marked with a red icon when they're active. So basically, players can go around and activate these terminals in the PvP zone, and they farm mats for players. You have to defend it to get the mats, so other players will come and try and counter you, or you can camp them and stop them from getting the resources. To start these events, you need to put down securement equipment. So in this zone, you can farm Stardust Resonators and Premium Fuel. So from my experience, these zones are always left on, so you don't really need to set them up. You'll find that a lot are started on the map, so you can just go to the red zone, someone else will have started, and you can steal their resources. And red doesn't mean somebody's nearby, so you can teleport to these zones and do a fast, easy loot run to collect all the resources and then get back to what you're doing. I recommend doing this periodically, because I've found a lot of times people aren't even farming these pumps. and you can just get free loot. Now, the other thing you'll see on these frontier zones is the big oil pump in the center, and this is the Warband Frontiers PvP feature. So basically in the center of these zones, you'll see a big one of the machines. There you can declare war on other warbands. So basically, warbands are a form of huge groups that you can make with friends or allies on the server. You join up, and you have to actually put some money in and bid on a war. If someone's owning the zone, you have to bid to attack them. The highest bidder wins, and they get to attack the people who are currently owning that zone. So I don't understand too much about this because this feature just unlocked, but it's the massive group-on-group endgame PvP content. To start this event, you need to bid on it. So once you win the bid, a timer will happen, and when the timer finishes, you'll get TP to the event zone, and your goal is to destroy the enemy's terminal. It's like capture the flag. So you can use grenades, molotovs, or C4 to blow it up, but there's going to be enemies defending the area. So it's going to be a big fight. I'm not sure if external people can enter the zone or not. I need to test it, but this video is just covering how to PvP for you guys. So I'm not going to go in depth in the details of how these events work, just how to get them started or how to join them for you guys and what they're about. You can win heaps of bonuses, and it gives you resources and access to a special shop, and it also gives you exclusive skins and even bosses to fight. So finally, we have the raid event. And this is when you can make your base vulnerable. Basically, on the map at the moment, you'll see these whales dropping echo stones around the map. You collect these echo stones, and you are flagged now for PvP. And you can take this stone back to your base and put it in your purifier. And basically, at this point, your base is vulnerable to PvP and raids. So you need to make sure you've got your turrets up, your high-level defenses, because people are going to see it on the map and come and attack you for it. And again, I'm not too sure of the rewards, but they must be pretty good for you to risk it all like this. So this is the peak on the top of the mountain for PvP. So you'd really want to be at endgame and know what you're doing, or not care about losing it all to get to this point, because you will lose your whole base if they get in and if you get attacked and are not prepared adequately. So that's how you can raid people's bases. So as you can see, there's a lot of different variations in PvP in Once Human, and it can be very confusing when you're first starting the game. So this is a very basic rundown of how PvP works. So it's up to you how hardcore you want your PvP experience. Basically, you can have it very soft, or you can have it really rough and make it harder for yourself, which I think is going to be great. Obviously, a lot of this stuff will be iterated on, and new events will be added as new seasons unlock. So these are just the current events and how they work and a general overview. So when future events happen, if it's a PvP event, you'll get into the zone and that will flag you. So that is how PvP works in Once Human. Again, I hope they iterate on the open world PvP and make it a timer that we can set permanently and make the game even more challenging for ourselves. This would be great. What do you guys think of PvP in Once Human? I'm having a blast in it, and I'm looking forward to jumping into the Warband Frontiers side of things very soon. So if you guys want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe and follow my streams. I'll see you guys in the next one.